Magic Johnson is taking over operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll hear from Magic fans.
Also, a rise in anti-Semitic threats across the country gets the president's attention. Plus, we'll hear from Hallel on campus.
And new software is helping law enforcement crack down on sex trafficking.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
If we do it the right way, then we can turn it around. And that's what I'm telling the fans out there, that we're going to do it the right way.
Magic Johnson is looking to bring back a winning culture to the Los Angeles Lakers. Good evening, I'm Brad Stryker.
And I'm Juliet Muir. Johnson is a 12-time NBA All-Star and 5-time NBA champion, looking to make a big impact on the franchise. Let's go to our sports anchor, Nathan Desai, for more on Magic. Nathan?
That's right, Juliet. Today, the Los Angeles Lakers announced that NBA legend Magic Johnson will take over as the team's president of basketball operations. Johnson joined the team as an advisor just a few weeks ago and immediately made it clear that he was looking to become more involved in the organization. Well, now's his chance.
It's about them, the new Lakers. It's about having a clear direction and a clear strategy. We're going to do it the right way. The Laker organization has always been about best in class, and so we will continue that.
The 5-time NBA champion and Basketball Hall of Famer has continued to be one of the most popular figures in LA sports culture, even though it has been decades since he last played in the league. During the past few years, he has also invested in both the Dodgers and the Sparks. Lakers fans hope that Magic's triumphant return will bring the team back to its Showtime days.
It's about time for him to retire, so I'm just glad he's
Right now we're not doing very well, and last year we did really terribly. So I think he knows what to look for and what he wants.
I think it will help the organization. It will help the young players to step up and build a great team once again.
But taking over a team is no easy job, even for guys who have been around the game for their entire lives. Our sports correspondent Terrence Davis is here with former sports columnist Mickey Turner to discuss what Laker fans can expect from Magic's return. Terrence?
Thanks, Nathan. I'm here with USC sports journalist Mickey Turner to discuss the new hire of Magic Johnson. Professor Turner, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
So, what are your thoughts on the Lakers hiring Magic Johnson as their president of basketball operations?
Well, my first thought, quite honestly, was how is he going to have time for this? Because he's involved in so many other things, the Sparks and the Dodgers and all his outside business interests. And then the second thought was all right, because Jeannie Buss actually did need to get rid of her dead weight brothers. And, I think that she pulled from within. I mean, this is a guy that she's known most of her life, who worked very well with her late father. And in terms of Mitch Kupchak, good guy, always liked him. But, when the team's not doing well, you haven't had, this is the first year they hadn't had an all-star since 1996. It's time to make some changes.
So the Lakers have endured their worst stretch of losing in franchise history. How do you think the Magic Johnson hire might repair the losing culture that's been going on with the organization?
Well, I think, he's a draw, because there will be coaches that will want to come here, not saying that they're going to get rid of Luke, but there'll be coaches, there'll be free agents, there'll be other players that want to come here, because this still is, a hotbed for basketball in the NBA. And when you have an opportunity to work with someone like him, who's not only a legend in the game, but a great businessman, it's a win-win.
So Magic Johnson has also openly talked about bringing back Kobe Bryant to the front office personnel. What are your thoughts about Kobe possibly joining the organization as well?
I don't know that that's a great fit for Kobe. He's never given me any indication that he wanted to work in a front office. Last time I talked to him a couple years ago, he was, intent on starting his production company and doing documentaries and short films and things like that. So, I do know that he has said he would be willing to assist. It's, what capacity is that going to be in, though? That's the big question. I just don't see him as a guy coming to work every day in a suit and, crunching numbers or anything like that.
Now, Lakers have had trouble getting superstar players to come to the team. Do you think now with new management in place that they'll be able to get these marquee free agents to come play in LA?
You know, the problem in the past with the Lakers is that they always had an existing superstar. And so if you're an existing superstar in another team, you don't want to come here and, you know, share that shine. So now that I think that they're in the position where they are, yeah, they could probably get some big names to come here. But I think if you're talking in terms of them being a playoff contender, I think you're looking at least 3 to 5 years, even if you do have that superstar player that Irvin said, you know, they were a superstar away from being contenders.
Well, thank you, Professor Turner, for joining us. Back to you, Juliet.
Thanks, Terrence. Controversial Breitbart News editor Milo Yiannopoulos resigned today. This comes after a video surfaced of Yiannopoulos making comments supporting pedophilia. Yesterday, a conservative conference canceled his speaking appearance. Today, Yiannopoulos said the decision to leave Breitbart was his own.
I haven't ever apologized before, and I don't anticipate ever doing it again. Name-calling doesn't bother me, and misreporting doesn't bother me, but to be a victim of child abuse, and at the same time be accused of being an apologist for child abuse, is absurd. I regret the things that I said. I don't think I've been sorry about anything my whole life.
Yiannopoulos has been in the public eye recently with violent protests at UC Berkeley and the University of Washington surrounding his scheduled campus talks.
President Trump spoke out this morning against hatred and anti-Semitism. This follows reports of a rise in threats directed against the Jewish community.
The anti-Semitic threats targeting our Jewish community and community centers are horrible and are painful and a very sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil.
Over the weekend, vandals toppled headstones in a Jewish cemetery in St. Louis, and a series of threats against Jewish centers forced many to evacuate. USC Hallel director Bailey London reacted to the president's comments. She hopes they will help to lessen the hatred and threats targeting Jews.
I think it's really nice to see a statement coming out of the president's office in support of the Jewish community. These bomb threats around the JCCs around the country have been a horrific act of intimidation and fear-mongering, and I think that the president's office sets the tone for the United States in terms of the way we respond to hate and intimidation.
Trump made his remarks during a visit to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C.
Sweden has become the latest battleground in the war of ideas about immigrants and the impact they're having on Europe.
Our international news anchor Barbara Estrada talked to a Swedish citizen about the controversy.
Last night, an all-right-wing British broadcaster and politician said a Swedish city has become the rape capital of Europe because of an influx of male immigrants, something many Swedes dispute.
This is just politicians feeding and adding to people's fears. Sweden is not a country where there are a huge amount of rapes occurring.
Last Friday, President Trump suggested there had been a terrorist attack in Sweden. He later corrected himself in a tweet. He said he was referring to a report on Fox News about immigrants in Sweden. And today marks International Mother Language Day. The United Nations honors all languages, including multilingualism, and especially those that have been forbidden at some point in history.
Usually, in my country, Hungary, everybody speaks at least 3 languages. I'm speaking English, German, Hungarian. I studied Russian and I speak Italian as well, so I could get a little bit insight of all of the cultures by its language, and I love it. I just love to know the cultural differences.
The theme this year at the UN is multilingual education. The aim is to preserve and protect all languages used by the people of the world as a way to promote diversity and international understanding. Back to you.
Thanks, Barbara. The U.S. Supreme Court took up an appeal today by the parents of a Mexican teenager killed by a U.S. Border Patrol agent. The case has reached the Supreme Court during a time of increased tension and controversy on the border.
Mesa's position about what happened that day is he was executing his duties as a United States Border Patrol agent, responding to a camera operator who indicated that aliens were entering into the country. He responded, he apprehended one. Other aliens began assaulting him with rocks, which are deadly weapons, and which could have placed him in serious bodily injury.
The incident happened in June 2010 when an agent on U.S. soil shot and killed a teen on Mexican soil. The family of Sergio Adrian Hernandez Gutierrez is looking for justice for their son.
As to whether or not, if a border agent is standing inside the United States, whether he's free and constitutionally unconstrained to shoot feet across the border and kill an innocent, unarmed, unthreatening Mexican boy.
Lower courts have ruled that the teenager wasn't protected from the unreasonable use of deadly force guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. That's because he was a Mexican citizen shot and killed in Mexico.
A nonprofit group working to combat human trafficking says there are more than 20,000 cases in the United States, and that number is on the rise. Annenberg Media's Tiffany Brevard shows us what one Los Angeles organization is doing to challenge the problem.
The Human Trafficking Bureau in Los Angeles has rescued hundreds of victims, especially with recently developed online software.
The sex worker out on the street corner is still out there, and you can still see it, but the majority is now in the cyber world.
According to Oliva, the average age for a victim is 12, commonly meeting their trafficker through various social media sites.
Online, and they may be talking to 15, 20 different girls, either in chat rooms or Facebook, and they get friended or friended.
The Bureau has many ways to help victims cope. After being rescued, survivors are brought to a space called the Soft Room. This is a safe place where victims are brought. They're given a care package that may include a blanket, warm clothes, toiletries, and a stuffed animal like this one. Detective Edgar Lopez also works at the Bureau and poses as a female on different social media sites.
The kind of things I display on pictures on my profiles is that obviously that I'm a young girl and interested in making money. When it comes to showing those kind of things, I immediately get inbox messages from different kinds of people.
Thorn, an organization founded by Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, developed software called Spotlight, which helps locate victims as well as traffickers.
We know that for officers who use our tool, they see a 60% reduction in the time it takes for them to work their cases.
Cordua says the most important thing is for people to be aware. Educating children early on will help decrease their chances of getting trafficked. For Annenberg Media, I'm Tiffany Brevard.
Los Angeles gets first prize in a contest no city wants to win. The story coming up next.
And I'm here in Hollywood where preparations have already begun for the 89th Academy Awards, and you know what that means. The traffic headaches have started too. I'll tell you the trouble areas to avoid coming up.
And an infamous Los Angeles hotel could soon be a place that attracts even more tourists.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on... Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
That's slow, that's slow. That's slow.
Look, he's blushing.
Seriously.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
A new study names the Los Angeles the #1 city for traffic congestion in the world. Even though Metro's public transit services are more extensive than ever, ridership is actually down. That means traffic isn't getting any better. Traffic is a sight and sound that LA drivers are all too familiar with.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's all day, remember, yeah? Except like late nights, yeah?
Drivers in LA are actually the most familiar with it. A new study by INRIX says that LA has the worst traffic congestion of all other cities in the world.
We do have a situation where we have too many cars entering our freeway systems at one time.
That freeway system is exactly what Caltrans oversees. A spokesman says they're doing all they can to alleviate LA's traffic problem.
In areas where we can widen freeways, we are. In areas that we can install technology to move people faster, we are.
The easiest solution to LA's traffic problem is just to get more people using public transportation. But as it turns out, most LA drivers don't want to ditch their car.
Ridership is down system-wide about 6%. On the bus side, we're down about 8.9%.
Even though Metro's ridership is down, it's still working to combat traffic in LA. After recently extending 2 rail lines, Metro has plans for 3 more projects.
Trouble with that plan is that the more rail you build, the less transit you have.
James Moore is the director of USC's Transportation Engineering Program. He says the city should consider implementing congestion tolls to reduce traffic. The idea is that drivers would be charged when driving at peak hours.
If I get on the freeway at rush hour, I slow other people up, I foul the air, those costs are real.
But a less costly option is public transportation.
We'll probably never get everybody out of their automobile. That will not happen, but at least we can offer some alternatives.
Metro is undergoing a massive expansion project with key projects including extending the Purple Line to Westwood, building the Crenshaw Line to LAX, and connecting the Blue, Expo, and Gold lines in downtown LA.
Even though the Oscars are still 5 days away, streets have already started closing in Hollywood. Several streets and sidewalks surrounding the Hollywood Highland Shopping Center are already closed. Orchid Valley, Hollywood, Boulevard, and parts of Hawthorne Alley are completely closed to the public. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan is there on Hollywood Boulevard with more. Cole?
It might be Hollywood's biggest night, but it's probably Los Angeles' worst traffic nightmare. We're talking about the 89th Academy Awards. Preparations have already begun 5 days out here at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland. And I want to show you what some of those preparations are as we come and take a look over this way. This is the Dolby Theater just down the block over here, and they've already started setting up the red carpet. This street between Orange and Highland is going to be closed all the way through Monday. The businesses along the street. Eduardo Martinez is the manager of Hollywood Souvenir here. And Eduardo, you were telling me earlier, despite the street closure, it's not going to have that big an impact over the course of the next week.
No, absolutely not. Like other years, we'll be fine doing business until Saturday late night and come back on business on Monday because on Sunday they're going to shut down the public, the access to the public.
Right, so that's when they shut it all down on Sunday. Eduardo, thanks so much. And as we take a look over this way one more time, you can just see where they're going to start rolling out that red carpet on Sunday. All the celebrities are going to be watching as walking down that red carpet, and the whole world really going to be watching. More than 200 countries are going to be watching the Oscars live from right here, and that's going to mean a lot more of these preparations in the coming days. Reporting live from Hollywood and Highland, I'm Cole Sullivan for Annenberg Media.
All right, thanks, Colin. With the Oscars coming up, traffic isn't the only thing we should be looking at. We also need to focus on the weather.
That's right. We've been getting a lot of rain here in LA, but hopefully none of those celebrities this weekend will get drenched. What can you tell us, Almond?
Right, Brett and Juliet. I'm going to get back to your questions just in a minute. For now, let's focus on our current conditions. So except the light shower this morning, the weather has been fine throughout the rest of the day, and currently we're looking at 65 degrees. And for tomorrow's weather, we have it's very windy over the mountain areas. We have some strong winds coming from the west, and a little further away from the mountain, it's going to be like 61 at San Bernardino, and also 64 degrees at Riverside, and also 69 degrees in Palm Springs. Now over here at the coast, in Malibu, we're looking at 64 degrees. Well, high advisory will be in effect from tomorrow afternoon to Thursday, so try to stay away from the coast and be safe. Now coming back near USC, it will be 66 degrees and also at LAX, it's going to be 64 degrees. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. The temperature throughout the week are around low 40s to mid 60s and mostly sunny, but we'll be expecting some rain on the weekends. So yes, the Oscars night might be a little wet. Well, I'm not a big fan of going out in the rain, but it's another story for wave chasers. For a lot of surfers, they flip the barrel in any weather as long as there are any good waves. And the McDonald brothers were among the many at Venice Beach this morning. Matt and John Paul started serving when they were just 8 years old. Living so close to the beach, they usually serve 4 days a week.
After the rain, the sandbars are really good right now. So just good conditions for beach breaks. It's a natural high. It's awesome. It's like meditation almost.
Well, I don't know how to surf, but you know, just looking at them, it's just so cool and so fun that makes me want to learn.
Great. Well, thanks, Almond. Hotel Cecil, now known as Stay on Main, is one step closer to becoming a historic monument. The Los Angeles City Council's Planning and Land Management Committee today added the property to a list of proposed historic cultural monuments. The early 20th century hotel has a reputation for being haunted. There have been numerous suicides at the hotel, and a Canadian tourist was found dead in the hotel's water tank in 2013. The decision to make Hotel Cecil a historic monument still needs to go to the full City Council for final approval. All right, and I know that we talked about Magic Johnson earlier, but Nathan, we can't forget about USC sports.
That's right, Brad. Let's toss to our sports anchor, Nathan Desai, to see what Trojans have planned for this short week.
That's right, Brad and Juliet. Thank you so much. Men's volleyball is enduring a really rough patch in their schedule. Stay tuned to hear how the Trojans are getting ready for a grudge match against their 4th consecutive ranked opponent. And we may be done talking about Magic, but when we come back, I'll let you know how the USC men's basketball team is preparing for their 3rd top 10 matchup in a row. And stick around to find out about 2 more awards that the USC women's lacrosse team picked up this weekend. Stay tuned, sports are next.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Get your ass. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to ATVN. We all know it's a big day for the Lakers, but what about the Trojans? USC's men's basketball team is heading to Arizona to take on the number 4 Wildcats. This will be USC's 3rd top 10 matchup in a row, but the team isn't afraid of its tough trip to Tucson.
I know that it's going to be hard going on the road. It always is in the Pac-12. But I think that our guys are mentally focused. You know, we had 2 good practices in a row. It's been really good this past week after recovering from the loss. You know, I think guys are just more mentally focused.
The Trojans are looking to avoid their first 3-game losing streak of the season. USC is coming off a brutal 32-point loss to crosstown rival UCLA, and their ruthless schedule has only gotten harder. Last time these two teams met, Arizona won by 7 at the Galen Center, and 7-foot Lauri Markkanen went off for 23 points on just 12 shots. But USC was without star forward Benny Boatwright in that game, so the matchup between these two bigs will be key on Thursday night. And as we go from the hardwood to the diamond, let's take a look at USC baseball. The Trojans are in the middle of a SoCal showdown right now against Long Beach State. Coming off a 3-game sweep against Coppin State, the Trojans are currently tied with Long Beach State 0-0 at Dato Field. This weekend, the Trojans will make their first road trip of the season as they head to North Carolina to take on Wake Forest and Duke. But a trip to the East Coast seems like a breeze when you look at what the men's volleyball team is going through. The Trojans are in the middle of a stretch where they have to face 8 ranked opponents in a row. Tomorrow night, the number 14 Trojans will look for revenge against number 11 Cal State Northridge, who swept USC earlier in the season. And they're not the only USC team trying to stay hot. The number 3 women's lacrosse team has quickly become a national powerhouse. But the women of Troy have a highly anticipated matchup on the horizon as they head to Florida to battle the number 4 Gators this weekend.
We always want to play the best competition that we can. Sometimes it's tough getting teams to come out to California, which is surprising, but we're excited. I think, Northwestern's a phenomenal team, and we need to get better from last week, and we don't have a lot of time to do it before another really great test against Florida.
Women of Troy are coming off a dramatic overtime win this weekend, squeaking by Northwestern 11-10, and their players just continue to pile on the accolades. This week, goaltender Gussie Johns was named the MPSF Player of the Week for the 3rd time in her career, and midfielder Kerrigan Miller was selected as the Federation's Rookie of the Week. This program just keeps getting better and better, and the women of Troy hope that this will be the season they finally win it all.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Coming up, we'll tell you why Bao Bao the panda is leaving the National Zoo and returning home to her native habitat.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
One of Washington, D.C.'s resident pandas is saying her final goodbye to the National Zoo today. Bao Bao is flying to China to start a breeding program and hopefully make her own babies. Bao Bao is one of only 240 pandas in captivity around the world. She's traveling with a veterinarian and a panda keeper in a crate full of her favorite foods, including bamboo, apples, and sweet potatoes. The 3-year-old panda is flying 16 hours on a FedEx plane they're calling the Panda Express.
Well, Panda Express, now I'm hungry.
We'll have to stop for that, though.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going after we're done here.
Fair enough. All right, well, thank you for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Brad Stryker.
And I'm Juliette Muir. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.